Welcome back to the Shop Mint. Damn it, Dorito fingers. Ugh. Welcome back to the Shop Mini RC, everybody. I'm Ken, and today we are looking at the new CR18P Evo V2 Rock van, and we're gonna do some cool stuff with this guy here. We gotta get that winch installed. So this video, it's gonna be about that winch. We're also gonna do some upgrades and whatnot, and should be a good time. So we're gonna try to use everything stock. Well, we got goodies in here. We got some upgrade goodies. So here's the winch hardware pack. We're gonna get this guy installed. This kit, truck, V2, the V2, it's gonna come with the winch kit. If yours for some reason doesn't have a winch kit, reach out to where you bought it from and see if they can send you one out, because it was supposed to come with a winch kit. Worst case, reach out to Hobby Plus directly, and somebody will get you one sent out to you. All right, so we're gonna open this guy up. Oh, we'll just throw that over there. We'll just set that right there. You guys have seen plenty of unboxing videos, plenty of review videos. If you want to check out a review on the CR18P Evo V2, we've got one right over here. Not on the Rock van, but on the Convoy, but it's exactly the same underneath. The Rock van, though, oh, look at this guy. Oh, pretty cool rig. I love that we've got our roof rack on here now. The V1 did not have a roof rack. We're all hooked up. Some awesome graphics. Van DeWitt of the Microcrawler Club did these graphics, so very cool there. We've also got inner fenders. Yeah, buddy. Love the inner fenders. Definitely cool. There's some really cool stuff with this guy. One thing that's kind of missing is an interior. You can see some wires down in there, but that's okay. That's okay. Some very cool stuff. Dig this truck for sure. Let's see. Again, this isn't supposed to be a review video. I don't know why I'm treating it like one. Just love opening new rigs. I love to check them out. Love to show everybody what they're about. There you go. If you don't have one of these, probably worth looking at. These things are freaking awesome. So our winch is going to mount right here. You can see we've already got the winch mount built in. Very awesome. It's going to use a micro winch, not the super tiny ones. There's like two different size micro winches. There's a couple more, but two main ones. This uses the same as like the Servo. It doesn't use the super small micro. Would have been nice to have a option for that, to use the really small micro winch, but again, this is designed to use their winch and their winch parts. So yeah, we're going to get into it. Where's the stuff? Yeah, the stuff here. So we even got our spool here. We'll build that. We'll show you how to set up the transmitter to do all that. Yeah, let's get into it. Alrighty, so we started off by just removing the body here. Unfortunately, it's got all these wires for these awesome lights, and we can't just unhook it. It would be nice if Hobby Plus put some quick release plugs here somewhere along here, so you could just unhook it. You don't have to undo everything. That would be super cool. I've seen other brands do that. I would love to see that here. But easy enough. We just pop these two screws out. You can take out the hinge screws, or you can take out the bumper screws there. There's two screws here holding those on, whichever's easiest for you. And then you can actually tug on these a little bit to get yourself a little bit of extra room there. They're like folded in. So yeah, you should be able to get a little bit extra room there, so you can just put your body down to the side. All right, so here's what comes in the little winch kit. We've got an extra plate here, I guess. I'm assuming this is just in case you get one of these winch kits and you decide to install it on something else. Like you got it outside, you didn't get it with your truck. You have maybe an older Evo or any of the other Hobby Plus trucks where this plate, this ESC tray would fit, then your winch will also fit in there. So they give you this tray. We also have our spool. This is our servo side. This is our main spool. This actually keys in right here like this. So it'll be like that with the servo right on there. Pretty easy peasy simple. Actually, there's not even a screw to go into the servo here. Our servo horn spool side just pushes on, no screw needed, which is kind of cool. So it comes with the spool, the tray, our screws for our winch to go into the tray, a bushing that goes here, our hook, and then our wire here. Obviously these two screws are from the body, and then our servo came with two screws, a plug adapter because it is using the smaller plug, and then a servo that's going to work for our winch. All this is shown also in the manual. So here you go for the Rock Van servo winch installation. Shows you everything here in the manual on page 18. I believe A couple pages later, it shows it in the convoy, regardless of which one you got. It also shows your layout for your ESC receiver. Now, it does mention here you need to upgrade your electronics. Requires a different transmitter, but we're going to use a stock transmitter. There's some stuff you can do. Swap some things around, make this pretty easy to do, and yeah, you'll be able to use your stock transmitter here. One of these guys. We're basically going to shift our shift servo to channel 4 here, which is also our lights, and then our winch will be here on channel 3. So we're going to lose neutral, but nobody cares about neutral on the shift servo. You just want high and low, and then winch out, winch not moving, and winch back. Okay, so we'll be able to do all that from the stock, which will be awesome. And then we're going to have to set endpoints for our shift servo to make sure we're not overshifting and causing issues in the transmission. And then same thing with our winch. We're going to want to make sure we're centered. So all of our trim and endpoints will be set through here for channel 3 and 4. And I'll show you how to do that since there's no knobs. If you're newer to RC in general, we typically only have our steering dual rate and steering trim, and then our throttle dual rate and throttle trim. It's actually steering up here and throttle down here. So dual rate is basically how far it will go. The servo will turn. You turn up your dual rate, you get a lot more swing. You turn down your dual rate, you have less. And for throttle dual rate, that's basically like your max speed. And then throttle trim and steering trim is your center. So if your servo's a little off, your steering's a little off, you center it with your trim. And then same thing, if your car's got a little whine going, like you're giving it throttle, but you're not, you can hear that motor kind of getting a little power to it. It means your trim is off for your throttle. So go ahead and try to center that up so that your car is not trying to move forward or backward on its own. So those will be used to adjust those same attributes on channel 3 and channel 4 for our winch and our shift servo. And we'll get into that later. This is pretty easy though. I just like to be make sure I cover all my bases because you never know who's watching. This may be somebody's first RC, maybe somebody younger who hasn't really messed with much of this kind of stuff before. So I want to make sure everybody can follow along. If this is your 30th RC and you've built it from the ground up, this is all probably pretty simple for you, but I bet you still need to know how to set your trims. So we'll have chapters down below so that you can skip to there if you want to skip to there. It does mention the winch servo hardware bags that are included, and then the winch servo that you do have to purchase separate. So this is the only thing you should have to purchase separately is your winch servo. And you don't have to use the Hobby Plus one. I like to use it just because, well, it's what this is all designed for. You can try to use an aftermarket servo. You will probably get more torque, things of that nature. But again, you're going to have to use the spool specific for the aftermarket winch, and it may not fit perfect and things of that nature. You may have to adjust some things, but that's part of the hobby too, is getting in there and figuring out how stuff is set up or how to make things work for you. And yeah, it should be pretty easy. So anyway, we're going to use all Hobby Plus stuff. Super simple. All you got to buy is a servo. Easy peasy. All right, let's go ahead and get this guy together. I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed, and then we will look at the electronics. All right, so the first thing we are gonna do is we're gonna get our servo installed here, but we do have to kind of do our spool at the same time. Went ahead and put our bushing in there. Bushings are waterproof. You could put a bearing in there if you want, but bushing will do just fine. We're not moving at a high rate of speed, so we're good. Our winch cable can drop right into our spool here. Just go right here towards the end, and there's a little tiny notch on one side of this, and you can just kind of drop your cable into that notch. And then on your servo horn side, there's also a little notch. I don't know if you can see that. A little notch right here on the right side. And that will also drop in and line up with where your cable is going to come out. That way everything sits nice and flush. Now you do want to kind of decide which way your cable is going to come out of your spool. I think we're going to have it come out the bottom of the spool like so, just to help keep it as straight as possible, you know, coming straight out versus coming over the top and dropping down and then coming back out. That'll put less binding potential on the cable itself. Now you could try to wind this thing up on here. It's not going to be easy, especially since this isn't like mounted in here. This will just fall right out until you get it mounted in your mount here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I've gone this far. We got our cable in there. We're going to go ahead and get our winch put in here as well. So then we will use the electronics to wind it up. I don't think winding it by hand is going to be very easy. We do have to make sure we can fit our servo in here. We have this steering servo part going on here. There's got to be a better way for this. I almost wonder if this would be better off coming underneath. Let's see here. Drop this underneath here. So our servo is coming straight through the chassis. That way we're not going to interfere with our spool. And then we can kind of hook this to the transmission. There's already some double-sided sticky tape on there. Drop that under there. That way we're not hitting that wire with our spool. That worked out well. And then we can go ahead and drop our servo in here. Now I'm not going to tighten it all the way, but I'm going to get the screw started, and then we should be able to back it off just enough to get the spool on with our cable in it. Let's see, actually. So we'll go ahead and make sure we're holding this nice and tight, holding that nice and tight. Got it like so, and then we can drop this guy in. Like so. Hold on, what are we hitting on? Oh, I see what's going on there. Okay. So here on the tray, you can see you want your spool sides on the outsides of this piece here. So you should drop your ends of your spools in like so. Okay, that's kind of what we were hanging up on there that I didn't realize. And you should be golden once you're in there. Just make sure you're nice and clear of all your wires. But yeah, just like so. And then we'll go ahead and add our screws and make sure that guy is held in there nice and tight. 1.5 millimeter screws, and these will just go right into our provided mount. Okay, and like I said, you don't have to screw these screws all the way nice and snug if you're having issues keeping your spool flush. Okay, so we've got a little bit of movement there, and our spool keeps popping out. So we'll go ahead and get our screws in, then we can align our spool, make sure that everything's nice and flush and our cable's coming out the correct spot within that slot, and then we can hold the servo in and tighten it down. And then we get nice and snug with it. Don't over tighten because you are going into screws, but you do want to make sure you're snug. All right, there we go. Okay, beautiful. So now we've got our winch installed, super simple. We can go ahead and take our plug here, add our adapter, and let me go ahead and unplug our channel 3, which is this second plug here. So we have our steering, our channel 3, and our channel 4. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just unplug this guy for now, and then we're going to plug in our winch servo. And let's plug in our battery and get some battery. We don't even have batteries in our transmitter yet. Good Lord, what are we doing? All right. Let's get some batteries in our transmitter and get this guy plugged in here. There is our power. There it is. All right, got our transmitter on. Let's power this guy up. I'm going to keep it off the ground. It's our first time ever powering it up. Just want to make sure it doesn't go crazy if the trims are off. Okay, we're good there. Servo's not moving at all here. We were centered, right? So probably a good idea to make sure you're centered before you turn everything on. And then we'll go ahead and hold this, give us some tension. We're going to flip our channel 3 here. Look at that. There you go. Make sure you're going the correct direction that you want to go to make sure your spool is, again, your cable is going through the spool or out of the spool on top or on bottom, depending on how you want. We'll go ahead and tighten this guy up a little here and run it again. We're just kind of holding this tight so that we don't end up with too much spacing. Whatever. We'll make a mess out of this anyway. So we might be able to adjust our speed just a little bit when we get into the endpoints, see if this guy will move a little faster. Maybe we turn up our dual rate on it and we'll get a little bit more speed out of it. Not sure until we get in there, but let me get this guy wound up at least for now. So it's out of the way. We're not doing a very good job making this look pretty, are we? Horrible job, Ken. Horrible job. You can do better than me, guys. You can do better than me. All right, as we get to the end, we're going to go ahead and lock it down. And now we can go ahead and put our hook on. And then we're going to hook our hook onto the front here. Actually, just wanted to check and make sure that our winch hook will actually go through our bumper. On the Convoy, you're going to have to come up with something for your winch on the Convoy because the bumper does not have a slot. So there's no fair lead or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. You will have to figure something out. And put our screw through and our little nut. Now you can use some Loctite here if you're worried about this guy falling off. Do we have Loctite? Oh, we do. We do. Let me go ahead and tighten this up a little more. Well, there we go. I just don't want it to unspool because this will unspool very easily. But we're just going to use a tiny bit of blue Loctite here. Actually, I can just drop it right in here. Whoa! What happened? Did you guys see how much Loctite came out? Crikey! I didn't even push the thing. And like, just Loctite went everywhere. Make sure you don't get Loctite on your plastics because you'll degrade them. There we go. A little bit of Loctite. And we will be golden. And then we'll snug this guy up. Wait, is this a Phillips head? Get out of here. Why we got a Phillips head on that? It's okay. Nice and tight. And we can hook that on there so we don't unwind for now. Curious, once we are coming through the body, how low we're going to be. Oh, it's a lot lower. Okay. Interesting. So are we going to rub on our servo? We might end up rubbing on our servo a little bit here. Interesting. We'll have to see when we get in there. Might have to put like a, I don't know, something, because we're going to probably run into our servo there. All right, we might have to get creative. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into the electronic side here. So again, we've lost our shift servo for now. Channel 4 is our lights, so it's a quick press for the lights. That's how you cycle through all the light modes. What we're going to do is we're going to use this channel 4, and it's going to be a long press to shift the servo for your shift servo, your 2-speed. Sorry guys, my OCD was killing me. I had to go back through and redo this winch because that winch line just looked so bad. It was bothering the heck out of me. So we're trying to make it spool a little nicer here. So much better. Now, unfortunately, the Evo V2 instruction manual does not really help with this 2-in-1 brushed setup. For some reason, this instruction manual has the brushless version where it's got an external receiver and ESC. So some of this applies, like the light controller here, that makes sense, and like the binding. But this stuff here, where it's got showing this other version, the Mini 24 ESC, you can see that there. Definitely not going to help you there. It's also got like your programmable items here for your low voltage cutoff, motor rotation, drag, brake force, and rate. None of that's going to apply. So unfortunately, I think they messed up and put the wrong thing in the manual here. My guess is they'll probably have an updated manual online that you can check out. But also, this parameter stuff here does still apply, just so you know. So your drag brake, your battery type, and your running mode. If you change your drag brake and it doesn't feel like anything's changed, like you put it at 100% and you feel like you're still free rolling, or you put it at 0% and it feels like you still have drag, try setting your drag brake and then cycling your ESC. Turn it off, turn it back on, and that drag brake will apply then, just in case it's not for some reason. Whether it's this brushed version or the brushless version, if you have an issue with your drag brake not working, just try cycling the ESC. All right, so none of the endpoint information is in here, so we're going to have to walk through it, and you're just going to have to follow along. All right, so we're all hooked up here. Everything's working. Got a rubber band for tension just to make it easier while I show you. So what we need to do now is we need to make sure we have the max speed on this by adjusting our dual rate for channel 3. And then I'm going to go through and show you on the shift servo to make sure everything's set up there. Our shift servo is currently unhooked right now because we don't want to burn it out just in case something's wrong. So when I get there, we'll hook it back up and I'll show you. But to get into your dual rate and your steering trim for channel 3 and channel 4, you're going to double click your bind real fast and you'll start blinking. Okay, so now your steering trim is no longer going to be steering trim for your steering. It's going to be for your channel 3, which for some reason doesn't seem to be doing anything here on this winch servo. Maybe the winch servo isn't granular enough to be noticing that, but I've seen some before helping other people where their winch servo, as soon as they plug it in, it starts winching in even when it's centered, and it's because their trim is off and you need to adjust it. I don't know why mine in particular is not changing. If I were to swap these, you'd see my trim on my steering would adjust for my channel 3. It's something to do with this winch servo, or just again, it's not granular enough. Either way, that'll adjust your trim, and then we should be able to adjust our dual rate. Oh yeah, look at that. So it's all the way max now, so it's a lot faster than before. I can slow it down or turn it up. So we want to max that for sure. Okay, and then again, our center is not moving, so that's good. I'm gonna, again, I don't know why the trim's not working on this guy, but I know for a fact it'll work. Here, watch, we'll swap. I'll unplug our servo, I'll plug in our steering, and if I adjust my channel 3, you can see the steering adjust. So it's definitely working. I think it's just not enough for this servo to pick up on. And so it's causing it to basically act like it's not trimming. But if yours is moving, even though you're centered, definitely need to trim it. All right, so our winch servo is back in channel 3. And it's fast, and it's not moving when we're centered, so it's working exactly as we'd like. And our shift servo, which is unplugged currently, is channel 4. So let me go ahead and hook this guy up here nicely. And maybe we can see our shift servo down in here. So I'm going to go ahead and plug our shift servo in to our channel 4, and you're probably going to see it move immediately. As soon as I get it plugged in, it'll shift itself because it's only going to be left or right. There's no longer a center. See that? So it went ahead and shifted all the way back. Give it some throttle. And then if we hold on our transmitter, channel 4, click and hold, you see it shifts. Now look at how far it went. That is too far. That'll probably burn it out. So we're going to go ahead and quickly turn down our dual rate. There we go. And now when we click and hold, we should be good. Now, if you're having issues where you need more dual rate, but it's too far one way, obviously, that's where you would adjust your trim here. And if you adjust your trim, you're going to be able to adjust that center just a little bit better. Okay? So we definitely want to get it centered, or not centered, but we want to get it so that it equally shifts forward and backwards. And it should be nice and smooth without putting stress on that shift servo. See, it's not even having to move that far. Okay? So you just click and hold and you're good. So you'll mess with your steering dual or your throttle dual rate and your throttle trim to get that to shift far enough both directions. Again, no longer a neutral, but you do have all your shifting there. And you can shift on the fly. Click and let go, click and hold. There you go. And again, your lights still work. So all of your lighting functions still work on a quick press. Okay, and if you click and hold long, you get that shift. Click and hold long, you get that shift without your lights changing. So very cool. So it's as simple as that, guys. And then when you're done getting everything nice and set, double click that and you'll have to recenter, because if you changed your trims, it's gonna mess with your throttle trim and your steering trim. So make sure once you double click, you're ready. If you had to trim it real far, your truck might move. But yeah, should be good now. want to make sure our dual rate's turned all the way up. Awesome. And we got a winch. Whoa! Got to be careful with the winch. Also, the longer you leave it wound up, the less likely it's going to unspring like that on you. All right, let me go ahead and get the body mounted back on. Actually, we're going to take care of these cables as well. And then I'm going to put the winch through the bumper and we'll see how she looks. Another little pro tip for wire management. I like to do this with servo cables and motor wires and stuff sometimes. You can just use a little bit of heat. You don't have to use a lot, just a little bit. And then you make it nice and tight. Just make sure you're not pulling on the plug itself or pulling out of the servo housing itself. Make sure when you make it nice and tight, you're just holding the wire and kind of snugging it in that way, because you don't want to pull it out of the housing or the cable here. And again, just a little bit of heat and it'll help it keep its shape. And you can pull that guy out and there you go. And that just helps kind of clean stuff up a little bit, keep it nice. You can do this side too. Let's go ahead and do it this side too. Just get a little bit of extra. Even though it's not much. Ta-da! And there we go. Don't have a bunch of cable just kind of hanging out everywhere. And everything's working. All right, let's get this back on. 2 screws, simple as that. All right, we're all hooked up there. I think that's where we're going to keep it, just so we don't get caught up on rocks. We could probably hook it underneath, right? But then you're just going to get caught up on rocks. This slot is a little big. I kind of wish they would have made it a smaller fair lead slot. Pull the cable through, then put your winch on or your hook on. But I get it. The hook fits through nice and easy. It does look like we are very close, or we do hit that winch cable. You can see it in there. We're hitting the winch cable. So something we'll have to think about. Is there maybe a way to... lift that winch cable up a little bit? Maybe we don't really care. It's not that big of a deal. We'll see if there's wear and tear on the actual servo itself over time. I'm sure there will be, especially if we're like compressed and articulating and using the winch at the same time. But yeah, overall we should be fine. It's also going to be rubbing on this front body mount just a little bit. You can see it kind of tucks over and under. So that's going to be an issue as well. It'll just start to rub through that body mount at some point. So it's not a perfect setup, but it at least gets us kind of a fun winch, a working winch with all of the stock parts, everything that comes with it minus the servo itself. Super, super simple to do. Again, over time, we're going to start to see wear and tear on this stuff. Ideally, we would have like a tube to push this through, or I don't know, something like that. Some people will run tubes down lower so it kind of lines up, but then the problem is you start to get articulation issues if you articulate a lot. Some people will run like roller bearing bars, like bars that can spin. That way the winch line goes over that bar and the bar spins using bearings and whatnot. There's a lot of different ways to set this up, but this is a cool way to do it. Just easy, fast, and again, using pretty much everything stock. Speaking of stock, I think we're going to do some upgrades to this guy. Not in this video, but maybe in another one coming up soon. We've got some axle housings, links, steering links, things of that nature. So I think I want to get all the Hobby Plus upgrades thrown onto this guy, get some of that nice weight down low so that this thing will be a lot more capable. There's a lot of weight up high, so adding some weight down low will definitely help. But yeah, I'm definitely digging the winch. It's going to be cool to set up. Oh, what happened? Are we dead? Did we die? We might have shut off. We shut off. Reset. Here we go. Oh, one thing of note, when you turn the truck on and off. Let's see, let's just double check that. I'm going to put it in high gear. Okay, if I turn this off, turn it back on. Yeah, we're back into low gear. So just be aware, like, you're always going to start off in low gear, which is fine, because that's usually what most people are in, especially when you're crawling around. You only usually go into second gear if you're doing some trailing. Yeah, that's really kind of hitting on there, isn't it? So just keep that in mind. Yeah, not a big deal though. Either way, should be cool. Should be a fun thing to mess with. And fairly strong. It's not like it's a weak servo. So we'll go ahead and reverse this guy. Drag itself along. I'm letting it pull itself in, but it's definitely strong. I bet it can pick itself up. Let's check. Yes. Oh no. Oh, the cable was loose. Yeah, let's go. Seems good. I'll take it. Whoa, we almost lost it. So you can hook it on like that if you'd like. That's okay, but I don't want to get caught on the rocks. Also, I'm going to reverse. Oh, you can't reverse channel 3. Yeah, because right now it's forward is in and back is out. So it's reverse of what I would like, but it is what it is. Not a huge deal. I don't think we can reverse. Hold on, let's check something. No, I don't think it's going to matter. No, that's not going to change that. Anyway, fun. So if you want to reverse this, you can basically just unspool it all the way until it wraps the other way. You can see we went ahead and wrapped it around coming off the top versus the bottom now, which I think might actually be a little bit better because we get a little bit more clearance over our servo there. So you can see we're going to be less hitting on our servo. You still hit, actually, we're hitting on our bumper there. Here, you can see it there a little bit. You can see we still push up against it just a little bit. But I don't think it's quite as bad as it was because it's coming from a higher point. Might also help with the geometry so you get a little bit more torque. I didn't realize how low that servo mount was. And then again, there's so much stuff in the way, you can't run it low. You want the line to go as straight as possible. So coming off the top just gives us a little bit straighter shot, at least down to here. If your winch was able to come out higher, you'd want it coming out the bottom of the spool. Either way, doing it that way does reverse the, once you've spooled it in all the way and you keep going or spooled it out all the way and then keep going, it'll start to spool itself back in. And now we have forward is loose and back is in. So forward is out and back is in. Very cool. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Hopefully you guys have one of these V2s and you want to get a winch in there. Now you know how to do it. Huge shout out to everybody hanging out. I appreciate all the subscribers. We also have a ton of channel members. They get to see all these videos early before anybody else without ads. They get party comment replies. They get a special chat in our Discord server. If you're into Discord, join that down in the description below. Anybody can join the Discord server. It's an awesome community. People sharing their rigs, asking questions, getting build help, helping others with builds, showing off courses, all kinds of cool stuff. So definitely join that Discord if you're into Discord down in the description below. If you made it this far in the video, why don't you go ahead and put Dorito fingers down in the comments below. I thought that was kind of funny. We were eating Doritos with the kids and I came down to film and I still had a little bit of Dorito dust on my fingers. I figured it'd be a fun little skit we threw in the beginning. Anyway, speaking of the Discord, Hobby Plus was gracious enough to send us out a bunch of winch servos. So I've got a good number of these to give out to you guys. You've got to join the Discord server if you want to get one of these guys. I don't have a ton of them, but join the Discord server. And then you can, I guess the first, until we run out, first come, first serve, join the Discord server, come in, message me, find me in the Discord, send me a PM, and I will shoot one out if I've got some left. We've got a decent number, but yeah, definitely join our Discord server if you want a free Hobby Plus winch servo for your V2 CR18P Evo. And yeah, like I said, I'll send one out. Send it out on my dime. I appreciate Hobby Plus sending these with the truck and the upgrades and whatnot that we got. So, and like I said, appreciate them sending out the extras for you guys. They wanted to give back a little bit to the community. They said, hey, we'll send you some extra servos for your winch video if you're going to do a winch video. And so here we go. Definitely join the Discord, guys. Tons of awesome stuff happening in there. And yeah, like I said, first come, first serve. First come, first serve. All right, guys, I hope you had a good time. I appreciate all the channel members, again, all the subscribers. Again, it's free to subscribe. It's just a click for you, but it means the world to me. So please like, subscribe, share, hit that notification, comment down below, fingers, and yeah, get out there, build something awesome. Build a car, build a course, community. All those things are super important, super awesome. Keep the community growing by doing that, and then smash it, crash it, and bash it, but don't break the expensive parts. Peace.